Money Talk Monday, brought to you by Bush Wealth Management.
Welcome into Money Talk Monday. Glad to have you with us here at the beginning of the year. Can you believe it already? 2026 is here, and that means a fresh slate. And what better way to start than with the foundation of building what's called your financial house. And if you've already got one, well, let's review it. I want to bring in Kent Patrick with Bush Wealth Management. Kent, hello, good morning to you. We're talking about a financial house, and for people who are not familiar with it, tell us what exactly it is.
Yeah, just like a home needs a foundation, Quinlan, your financial house needs a foundation laid as well. So really what that boils down to is looking at protecting what you have and protecting your income. So there's three steps to laying the financial foundation of your household. The first you've heard us talk about before, which is an emergency fund. So that's 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses that you want to have set aside. The next step after that would be to protect your family and those who rely on you to produce maybe an income. And the way you do that is through life insurance. Typically, term life insurance is going to be the most affordable, most cost-efficient way to actually achieve this. And some people don't like the idea of life insurance or maybe having a lot of it, but I would encourage them to not think so much about themselves, but think about your family members and your dependents who rely on you. You've got to protect them. So that's the second step. The third would be protecting your income. And the way you do that is through disability income. You may have heard that term before. And a lot of you out there would probably have this benefit through an employer. So you want to look at short-term disability and long-term disability, because your income while you're working is arguably your greatest asset, because that's what allows you and your family to live and to thrive.
Kent, tell us just how large should our emergency fund be given in our situations, given the income dependence and job stability?
Great question. So let's just use ballpark numbers. If you have $5,000 of expenses every month, I would probably at a bare minimum have $15,000 set aside in a savings account that you do not touch. If you want to go a little bit more conservative, you could stretch that number maybe to $25,000 or $30,000, and that should provide you peace of mind that you don't have to dip into other savings or investments for emergencies.
And I know for some people this may be something new for them, and so I guess taking baby steps would be some good advice there. How can people start out slowly with building their financial house?
Great question. Yeah, you need to just start by creating the emergency fund. That's the first step. And then once you get the foundation laid, just like in a traditional home, that's when you want to start building the walls or framing it. And what that looks like is an investment account, whether that's a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. For most people, it would be a 401k through their employer. And then after that, you may want to look at a taxable brokerage account. So there's different investment vehicles available as you continue to build the financial house. But as with every piece of construction, the foundation is what matters the most. So you want to make sure you get those three building blocks in place first.
Stay on that topic of retirement. What type of retirement accounts do you say people or recommend that people get or prioritize, including like a 401k with match IRA or the Roth IRA?
From a prioritization, I would recommend the 401k or the employer plan. I would do that first. So a lot of times your employer will make a match percentage, and I would contribute to make sure you do at least enough to get that match, because that's free money. Let's say you're someone who has maxed out the 401k. I would then look at your traditional IRA or your Roth IRA. And the difference in those are how it's taxed, Quinlan. And if you're not familiar with that, you should reach out to your CPA or your financial advisor, and they can help you with that.
Well, Ken, I know this is a topic that is often not discussed as much as it should be. We're talking about life insurance here. That is something that is needed. When people get life insurance, how much coverage do they need and for how long?
Yeah, that's a large debate in the financial industry. I'll answer the second part first. So you definitely want to have enough while you're working to replace that income, God forbid, if something happens to you. For some people, given the situation, they may want to insure themselves for their entire lifespan. That's when you would look at what's called a whole life policy or a permanent placement policy. But when it comes to how much, Quinlan, normally 5 to 10 times your annual earnings, that's kind of a rule of thumb or a starting point. And then given other factors, you might want to increase or decrease that number.
Gotcha. How often should people review their coverage?
I would review it every 2 or 3 years at a bare minimum, but definitely if you have any major life changes. So someone like me who has a young family, I'm having more and more children, I need to make sure I've got enough life insurance in place to protect them, God forbid something happens to me. Or maybe you purchase a new vehicle or you purchase a new home and you've got a larger mortgage. You want to insure against those, potential losses.
All right, Ken Patrick, thank you for that great information. And I think the key takeaway here is when you're starting and building your financial house is making sure that you have that emergency fund. I think that's the key and priority here in setting up the foundation for that financial house. Any final words, Ken?
I would just say a lot of times people are too focused on growing their wealth. And the way you do that is you first protect what you have. Because if you're having to dip into your savings and investments for minor emergencies, you're never going to get ahead in life. So get the protection in place and then you can build on top of that later on.
All right, sounds good. Ken, thank you so much.
Thank you, Quinlan.
Of course, we'll have more of this information as well on WLB.com.